Hey, what's up, y'all? RJ here with CB Tech. Now, this video here is about a question that I get quite often on my channel. And the question is, should I get the LG X Power or should I get the Samsung Galaxy J3 Emerge? And I gotta say, that is one of the toughest questions to answer. And I really can't ever answer that question. And the reason being is because they are two really nice devices. And I hope that anybody who is contemplating these two devices here, hopefully this video will help a little bit. Now, I keep it as short as possible. I always say that, and I always seem to run long, but I'll do my best to keep it short. Now, both of these phones are relatively the same price. If you go to Walmart, they're the same price, $80 a piece. So price is right for both of them. Of course, if you buy them online, they could be different prices, stuff like that. But that's kind of beside the point. Now, both of these phones here run very well. And it really, when it comes to both of these phones here, it really comes down to what you want in a phone, what manufacturer is more important to you, and all that stuff. Now, with the LG X Power, it's running 6.0.1 Marshmallow, has a 5.3 inch 720p display HD with a 8 megapixel camera on the rear with a flash and a 5 megapixel camera on the front. And the phone really does work good. The phone looks good. The phone is extremely snappy. This phone runs the 1.8 gigahertz octa-core MediaTek 6755 Helio P10 chipset with 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of onboard storage with a 4100 milliamp hour non-replaceable battery. Now, when you come to the Samsung, you have a 5-inch 720p display. You have a 5 megapixel camera on the rear with a flash and a 2 megapixel camera on the front. And I will say it's a big improvement over the last generation J3. It really kind of evens up. The rear cameras are about the same on the X Power and the J3 Emerge. However, the front camera on the X Power is just a smidgen better. This runs the I want to make sure I get this right. The 1.4 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon, I think it's 425 or 430. One of the two. I'm not really sure. Have no idea. I know it's one of the two. It's got a 2600 milliamp hour removable battery, and this phone just works. It works really good, and there is some pluses to this phone over the LG, but the LG also has some pluses over the Samsung. So what are the pluses? Well, first and foremost is battery life. The big battery in here will last you a day and a half to 3 days, depending on how you use your device. If you are an extremely heavy user, you'll get about a day, day and a half, depending on what you do with your phone. If you're playing games all day, on social media all day, any battery is going to, deplete, in a full day. The battery in here, while it is smaller, it does last. Now, it will not last nowhere near as long as the X Power, but it will get you through a whole full day of good moderate usage. So I will say that it does do a really good job. How about sound quality? I know that's really important to be able to, hear ringtones or hear your music or whatever you may want to do. Now, the rear speaker here on the LG is pitiful. I will go ahead and just say that right out loud. It's pitiful. It's very tiny, and it's not very loud. I gotta be honest with you. The Samsung has a speaker right here on the side, which produces more than double the sound quality of the LG. So if that's really important to you, and you want to be able to hear your phone ring or music or whatever, then the Samsung's going to be right for you. Both of them have micro USB charging ports. Nothing really too important there. There's no NFC. There's nothing really spectacular about either phone, other than the fact that the LG X Power is a it is a workhorse. Now this thing right here has worked with everything that I've thrown at it. I don't care how big the game is. I don't care how many things I have open in the background. This phone just pretty much refuses to slow down. It's really, in my opinion, one of the best phones for performance for the price tag. And I would dare say that I would put this up to some flagships from last year. Because I think it's just that powerful. And I think it works that good. Because I have really, really put through its paces, and it really works like a champ. And, you know, it's made just right. I mean, the 5.3 inch display, it feels really good in the hand. It's a bit slick. I would recommend the case for it, of course. But it's very nice. And it just lasts. I mean, if you are a heavy gamer, a heavy social media user, then the X Power, even though it does have a few little cons to it, would probably be your choice. However, if you want a really reliable phone as well with better call quality, now this thing right here is superior in phone call quality. Calls are very clear, very crisp. Speakerphone sounds good. Reception is better on the J3 Emerge. I have noticed that I have connected stronger to LTE, and I have just connected better in general and low coverage areas. The LG X Power here in my area struggles to get a good phone call. The Samsung, it's clear, and there's really no issues. It's got a nice rubbery feel to the back of it, which is really good to hold on to. It's got a slightly smaller screen at 5 inches. It does have the keys on the body of the phone with a physical home button, which is my personal favorite, to have the keys on the body. The LG X Power has the keys on screen. So it does take a little bit of real estate up as far as, all that kind of stuff goes. I know I'm not covering everything in these videos about these phones here. I'm trying to get y'all to understand. I get a lot of comments about these two devices on which one you should buy, and I can't make that decision for you. I mean, it's really basically, do you want an LG? Do you want a Samsung? Do you want a bigger battery? Do you want something that's, in my opinion, more reliable? I mean, I'm just giving you my thoughts. This is just my thoughts, my personal opinion, and when I say this is the truth, it's what I think. What I think may be different from what you think. Personally, me, I always find myself going back to the J3 Emerge over the X Power. Not saying the X Power is not a good phone, because it is. It has LTE Cat 6, and it does manage to pull better download speeds in certain places than the Samsung. But, so really, honestly, both of them perform well in gaming. I've not had any issue with gaming on either device. It does play intense games better on the LG X Power. This one right here plays games well enough with no issues. This does have 2 gigabytes of RAM. Well, this one here has 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, but really it don't seem to hurt it none. Both of them have the same internal storage at 16 gigabytes. Both of them do have an SD card slot, and you can move apps to the SD card, which is really nice. Screen quality, this is a lot brighter screen. Outdoors, indoors, the screen is just more vibrant. It's brighter. This one right here, the X Power, if you go outside on a sunny day, you will need 100% brightness to see it really good. Indoors, you can have it at 30, 40, 50%, and there's no problem whatsoever. But outdoors, you will need definitely 100% brightness, because it's just the way it is. So, overall, both of them are great devices. you know, there, you can't really go wrong with either one. Of course, there is two variants of the X Power. You got the Cricket version, which is a watered down version with a much smaller processor, smaller RAM, and it's just not, you know, a power horse, a workhorse at all. The Boost Mobile version has that really high performance MediaTek Helio P10 with the extra half gigabyte of RAM, and it's just a solid built device. This really made to last. It really is. It's made really good. The J3 Emerge surprised me when I bought it. Is a very solid, reliable device that has good cameras, as long as, you know, just same, about the same as the X Power. So really, what shines more on the J3 Emerge is call quality is better, connectivity is better, hanging on to LTE and phone calls is better, sound quality is better out of the speaker, and a better screen. With the X Power, you get a bigger battery that lasts a long time. You get a stronger processor that pretty much will play any game that you want to play, and it just does not seem to want to slow down at all. I have had some slowdowns on the J3 Emerge. There is times it does lag up a little bit and just can't hang, but not with the X Power. It just seems to work and work well. So I hope this helped out a little bit. I know it's kind of scattered. I know that it may be a little confusing, but both of them are great devices, and you really can't go wrong with either device. Like I said, I get a number of comments about these two devices, and I really can't answer that question, because the best phone is the phone that you like the best and what suits you better. Price ranges, though, are nearly the same, especially at Walmart. $80 for each phone, and they just work. They work well. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. If this was helpful and informative in any way, be sure to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. Any questions or comments, leave it down below in the comments section, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit that subscribe button and that bell next to it to be notified for further content and reviews, and, you know, all kinds of videos coming up here soon. So y'all have a good one. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Later.